Hi everyone. So this video is on basically different assessments that we could use in ABA, and we did cover functional behavior assessments, and of course they are mainly for behaviors, about how to increase, decrease, or teach new behaviors. However, ABA is not used just for behavior interventions. It's also used for curriculum-based interventions for speech or verbal behavior, which we'll be covering also in some other videos. And as we mentioned before, ABA can be used for skill acquisition. There are too many branches of ABA, and some of them are related to teaching or classroom, not curriculum, not management, not classroom management, but more of a classroom curriculum or school curriculum based on academics. So we do have many assessments out there that we could use to determine where our client is at when it comes to curriculum or developmental milestones, to give us an idea of where to start or what exactly we should be working on. So many of you who are familiar with early intervention programs, the early intervention programs serve children since birth, really, until age 3. And because at that time, where they're not really, the children are not really required to know any academics, we focus, or EI and programs focus on developmental. What I mean by developmental is basically communication, cognitive, physical, and daily living skills. In many of the states now, ABA is a intervention or a program that is required of any EI or early intervention program when they serve children who have autism or ADHD, attention deficiency, hyperactivity disorder, or any kind of disorder that impacts their development. So on the screen here, I have a page of the ABLLS. I'm sure many of you have heard of the ABLLS. And the ABLLS stands for Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills. So it's used with, kids who have autism, and even with kids who have delays in speech and learning, such as receptive and expressive language, fine motor skills, gross motor skills, and other domains as well, such as reading, writing, math. So many of the programs in schools also use it with kids who have autism. So it goes up to school-age children. So I just wanted to show you an example or a sample of one of the pages of the ABLLS, and this is an assessment for, again, basic language and learning skills. And here we see how the assessment is being provided and how to score. And again, based on these assessment results, we create programs to follow to teach skill acquisition. So I'm just gonna read to you the first one here, and it says task name. That's where I'm reading right here, this one. Task C1. It's the scores, you can score 0, 1, or 2. And the task name is response to own name. That's a receptive language skill, as you can see here. It assesses the receptive language of the student or the child. So what you're assessing now is if the kid responds to his own name or her own name. So the task objective, student will look at or come to a person when called by his name. That's what is expected as a result of your assessment for a typical developing kid or child or student. The question will be, will the student look at or come to a person when called by his name? And the criteria here is you get you provided 2 for 2-point score when, like right here, when the child looks or comes at least 80% of the time, and when requires some prompts to respond. So the prompts could be like waving in front of his face so he can pay attention, or guiding him physically to look at you. So this is just an idea. I wanted to show you a sample of how this assessment might look like. So you're gonna keep scoring, and then after you score, it's a very long assessment because it covers too many domains, and we'll look at that in a moment. But after you score it, you go to this here. There's another one. Oops, sorry. You see here visual performance. That's another area that you can assess. I'm just trying to get to show you how it's scored, and then not how it's scored. And there's here you could see that in each one it tells you the criteria of how to score it. But I want to show you at the end of your assessment what you need to do right here. So this is a tracking system, and you can fill this out. See here, this is for school age kids. This is syntax, grammar, play and ledger, social interaction, group instruction, classroom routines, generalized responding, reading, and math. And it's nice because it has a tracking system where you can always go back and reassess certain skills that you're trying to track to see where the kid is at. And here, so this is more things here that you can see at the bottom that you can assess. Alright, so here you are going to basically put the scores, and you're gonna look at the Holstead tracking system, and you would see after completing this, if you have a very high, say for example for receptive language, it's going to be very high all the way to the top, or it's going to be very low. So it's really nice, give you a very nice visual aid to help you find or figure out what is the lowest or the main weakness of this child, so you can work on it, and what other strengths and what are the things that need to be maybe worked on in a different way. So it's a really nice curriculum based and developmental based